Between 34 and 47 Sumatran rhinos are alive on this planet right now. Not in Southeast Asia, not in Indonesia, on this planet, and the force driving them toward extinction. It is not a poacher with a rifle. It is a product sitting on your bathroom shelf. Southeast Asia holds 47 UNESCO World Heritage Sites, monuments, ecosystems, and living landscapes so extraordinary that the United Nations declared them the property of all humanity. 5 of them are dying. This is their story, ranked from alarming to almost too late to fix. Not every remarkable place earns a UNESCO World Heritage designation. To qualify, a site must possess what UNESCO calls outstanding universal value, significance so exceptional that it belongs not to one nation, but to all of humanity. As of 2025, 1,223 sites worldwide carry that title. Southeast Asia holds 47 of them, but designation is recognition, not protection. When threats grow severe enough to compromise a site's outstanding universal value, UNESCO places it on a second list, a warning list. The list of World Heritage in danger. Southeast Asia is particularly exposed. Rapid development, population pressure, inconsistent law enforcement, and accelerating climate change are all converging on the same landscapes that took centuries, sometimes millennia, to form. What you are about to see is not the past. It is the present. 5 sites, 5 warnings. Let's start counting down. Number 5, Borobudur Temple, Indonesia. Built in the 9th century on the island of Java, Borobudur is not simply a temple. It is the largest Buddhist monument ever constructed on Earth. Six rectangular terraces rise to 3 circular platforms at its peak. More than 2,500 carved relief panels cover its walls. 500 Buddha statues watch from carved stone alcoves. Every inch of this structure is a document, 1,200 years of ancient faith, philosophy, and human ambition preserved in volcanic stone. For centuries, it lay buried beneath ash and jungle. The earth itself, it seems, was trying to preserve it. What the earth managed for 12 centuries, mass tourism nearly undid in a single generation. At its peak in 2019, Borobudur received 3.7 million visitors, over 10,000 people per day walking the same narrow stone pathways, climbing the same worn steps, pressing their hands against the same carved panels. The result was measurable, irreversible physical degradation. Stone surfaces in multiple zones eroded up to 5 centimeters from their original condition. 5 centimeters does not sound significant until you realize this stone survived 12 centuries intact, and 1 decade of unchecked tourism nearly destroyed what the elements could not. Authorities responded with a strict daily cap of 1,200 visitors and mandatory pre-registration. The erosion slowed, but a new conflict emerged immediately. Local business owners reported accommodation occupancy rates dropping by 80% after the restrictions were enforced, and pressure to reverse the limits has never stopped. That is the core tension at Borobudur. The people whose livelihoods depend on this monument are the same people whose visits are destroying it. UNESCO has flagged deteriorating stonework, unregulated visitor contact, and volcanic ash from nearby Mount Merapi as active threats. The question is not whether the damage can be stopped. It is whether the competing economic interests will allow it to be. Number 4, Ha Long Bay, Vietnam. Nearly 2,000 limestone islands rise from emerald water. Ancient peaks draped in dense jungle. Caves and grottos carved over thousands of years by ocean and wind. Ha Long Bay, Descending Dragon Bay, is considered one of the most visually spectacular natural landscapes on Earth. It earned UNESCO World Heritage status not once, but twice. It is also slowly being poisoned. Ha Long Bay now receives more than 7 million visitors annually. The growth of Ha Long City along its shores, luxury hotels, a cable car, an amusement park, and thousands of new residential units pressing to the water's edge, has fundamentally altered the bay's shoreline and ecosystem. But visible overdevelopment is the surface problem. Water quality tests have documented elevated levels of coliform bacteria, ammonia, and heavy metals throughout the bay, contamination that directly threatens coral reefs, seagrass beds, fish populations, and the critically endangered Ha Long langur. The numbers are stark. Ha Long Bay was once home to 234 coral species. Today, roughly half remain. Environmental crews remove approximately 10 cubic meters of waste from the bay every 10 days and still fall behind. UNESCO's 2024 assessment identified marine water pollution, surface water contamination, industrial discharge, and unmanaged tourism as active threats to the site's outstanding universal value. Ha Long Bay is not disappearing quietly. It is drowning in the admiration that was supposed to protect it. Number 3. Angkor Archaeological Park, Cambodia. It appears on Cambodia's national flag. At over 400 square kilometers, it is the largest religious monument complex ever built by human hands anywhere on Earth. And it is literally sinking into the ground. The Angkor Archaeological Park contains the remains of successive Khmer Empire capitals built between the 9th and 15th centuries. Angkor Wat alone required an estimated 300,000 workers and 6,000 elephants to construct. For centuries, it stood as the most powerful symbol of one of the greatest civilizations Asia has ever produced. Here is what is killing it, and it is not what you expect. The temples of Angkor were intentionally built on a foundation of sand. That design is only stable when groundwater saturates the sand beneath the structures. Remove the water, and the ground begins to compress. The ground compresses, and the temples begin to sink. A booming tourism industry and rapidly growing local population have created severe water demand around Angkor, forcing aggressive extraction from underground reserves. The water table beneath the site is dropping, and as it drops, the ground beneath structures that have stood for 1,000 years is shifting. UNESCO is now evaluating emergency water injection measures, including the possibility of pumping water from the nearby Tonlé Sap Biosphere Reserve, just to halt the subsidence before it becomes structural collapse. Above ground, the threats multiply. A proposed $350 million resort and entertainment complex, including hotels, bars, and a casino, was approved just 500 meters outside the site's protected boundary, drawing formal alarm from UNESCO conservation specialists. Tourist numbers at Angkor grew 300 times between 1993 and 2013, from 10,000 annual visitors to 3 million. A civilization that water built may be destroyed by what the crowd that came to see it consumed. Number 2. Rice terraces of the Philippine Cordilleras. 2,000 years ago, the Ifugao people of the northern Philippine highlands did something that should not have been possible. Without machines, without blueprints, without outside help of any kind. They carved a network of terraced rice fields into the steep mountain slopes of northern Luzon by hand that, if laid end to end, would stretch halfway around the earth. This was not just agriculture. It was a civilization built into the side of a mountain. An indigenous engineering achievement that outlasted empires, survived colonization, and endured for 2 full millennia. Today, it is losing its battle against the modern world. And the most devastating part, it is not being destroyed by greed or corruption. It is being abandoned out of exhaustion. The rice terraces are not passive stone monuments. They are living systems. They require constant human maintenance, irrigation management, wall repair, seasonal planting, and the traditional knowledge to do all of it correctly. That knowledge is held by the Ifugao people and passed down through active practice, not written instruction manuals. But rice farming in the terraces is backbreaking work that delivers minimal economic return. Young Ifugao men and women are leaving for cities in growing numbers. When they go, the terraces they leave behind go unmanaged. Unmanaged terraces deteriorate within seasons. Climate change is accelerating the collapse. Extended dry seasons weaken terrace walls. When sudden heavy rainfall follows, those weakened walls simply fail. Giant earthworms and invasive Asian swamp eels bore directly into the earthen terrace walls, compounding the structural damage from within. In May 2024, the consequences became impossible to ignore. The batted rice terraces in Bano suffered a catastrophic wall collapse, an event conservation experts directly linked to climate-induced drought followed by sudden rainfall. This is not a story with a villain. It is a story of a people forced to choose between their heritage and a livable future. Right now, the future is winning, and the terraces are paying the price. Number 1. Tropical Rainforest Heritage of Sumatra, Indonesia. Everything before this entry was alarming. This one is different, because this site is not under threat from tourism. It is not being damaged by groundwater extraction or eroded by footsteps. It is being systematically dismantled for profit by a supply chain that runs directly into your home. The Tropical Rainforest Heritage of Sumatra spans 2.5 million hectares across 3 national parks: Gunung Lusur, Karinsai Seblat, and Bukit Barisan Selatan. Within its boundaries live an estimated 10,000 plant species, more than 200 mammal species, and approximately 580 bird species. More importantly, it is the only place left on Earth where Sumatran tigers, orangutans, elephants, and rhinoceroses all share the same ecosystem. The only place on the planet. UNESCO placed it on the list of World Heritage in danger in 2011, citing illegal logging, agricultural encroachment, poaching, and road construction as the core threats. More than a decade later, it remains on that list, and every credible measure shows the situation has worsened. The primary driver of destruction is palm oil. Between 2020 and 2024, the province of Aceh alone lost over 41,000 hectares of forest, more than half of it inside the Lusur ecosystem, the ecological core of this UNESCO site. As recently as 2024, investigators documented active deforestation and illegal palm oil plantations operating inside protected national park boundaries. Now here is where this becomes personal. Illegal palm oil from inside this protected ecosystem has been traced directly into the supply chains of major global consumer goods companies, brands found in households across every continent. The destruction of this forest is not being funded by some nameless industrial force operating in shadow. It is being funded by the everyday demand for products that are manufactured using this forest destruction and sold on shelves that you shop. Palm oil is in your shampoo, your bread, your chocolate, your soap, your margarine, your packaged snacks, your cosmetics. It is one of the most widely used ingredients on Earth and the least regulated in terms of sourcing. Here is what that demand is costing. The Sumatran rhino is one of the most ancient mammals alive. It survived the ice ages. It survived volcanic eruptions. It survived thousands of years of human expansion. The most recent population assessment places the total number of Sumatran rhinos remaining in the wild across the entire planet at between 34 and 47 individuals. Not a herd, 47 animals, total, on Earth. Since 1990, Indonesia has lost 25% of its old-growth forests. If current deforestation rates continue, the Sumatran rhino will not survive the next decade of palm oil expansion. Every site on this list faces a serious crisis. But this site faces extinction, and the supply chain funding that extinction is in your home right now. 5 sites, 5 warnings. Borobudur, worn down by the weight of our admiration. Ha Long Bay, choking on the waste of 7 million annual visitors. Angkor, sinking under the ground as the water that held it disappears. The rice terraces of the Philippine Cordilleras, falling silent as the people who built them have no choice but to leave. And the tropical rainforest heritage of Sumatra, being bulldozed for an ingredient that most people cannot identify on a label. None of this is inevitable. And none of it requires a dramatic life change to address. Here is what actually helps. Look for the RSPO certification on palm oil products, the Round Table on Sustainable Palm Oil. It is an imperfect system, but it is a traceable one. Apps like Jiki and Bicot can scan products and flag supply chain concerns. Choosing certified sustainable palm oil over uncertified alternatives reduces direct market demand for a legally cleared forest. For Angkor and Borobudur, respect visitor limits when you travel. Book through licensed local operators. The economic benefit of tourism matters, but only when it funds conservation instead of undermining it. For the rice terraces, support Ifugao-produced heritage rice brands, which directly compensate farming families and create economic incentive to maintain the terraces. They are available internationally. These sites do not belong to Indonesia, Cambodia, Vietnam, or the Philippines. They belong to all of humanity, which means their loss belongs to all of us too. If this video gave you something you did not know before, subscribe. Because the most useful thing you can do after watching is make sure someone else watches it next.